Now, the Premiership weekend is here. Again, that's what we always look forward to. Man United are home to West Ham. Some statistics here that they've won their last 9 home matches against bottom 6 teams. You see them not slipping up this time around?
Well, before the Villa game, I would have had my doubts. We're both in Old Trafford together to watch our loss to Newcastle, which was Newcastle. We hadn't lost to Newcastle, or United hadn't lost to Newcastle since 1972. I mean, okay, that's 41 years ago. An amazing record of of victories and worst draws to the likes of Newcastle. So United traditionally don't lose to such sides. In fact, about 3 or 4 seasons ago, they won the title without beating any top 5 side, but they beat all the lower sides, below them, from, let's say, 7th downwards, home and away. I mean, that's always been their strength. If they want to maintain any pretense of retaining the title, or at least getting a top 4 position, they must beat West Ham on Sunday. On Saturday. West Ham played out a very, very dull, goalless draw, against. In fact, if anybody was going to bet, if I'd bet, I would have bet on the goalless draw there, because both teams bang out of form. So I tell you what, this is a very good opportunity after their very, very good performance at Villa to start picking up the points and maybe drag themselves back into contention by January.
So we're almost saying it's now or never for Manchester United to prove their title credentials. Let's move on to Liverpool. They have a chance of going to the top when they host Cardiff at Anfield.
Well, I sat down and watched, open-mouthed, the way Liverpool dismantled, dissembled, deconstructed Spurs, and eventually cost AVB his job. That's another story. I always believe he was going to get sacked, but I think that was the final straw for Daniel Levy. But I tell you what, Liverpool are good. And in Luis Suarez, they have one of the top 3 footballers in the world. I think Suarez can actually start. For me, he's better than Frank Ribery. I think he can actually stand head and shoulders along with Messi and Ronaldo on current form. He's a genius. He's 2-footed. He's good in the air, and his movement baffles defenders because you never quite know what he's going to do. Jordan Henderson, who's a player that I've looked at as a distinctly average player, had a fantastic game. Maybe he's better at playing in the number 10 behind Suarez. And even Sterling, who has gone off the ball from his good breakout season, everybody in Liverpool had an excellent game. So what? Congrats to Liverpool. And I tell you what, Cardiff, who beat West Brom last time out, are going to be very tough. Tough opposition, but if Liverpool want to have any pretensions of 1, getting back into the top 4, which they haven't been for quite some years now, and 2, maybe having title potential of their own, this is a game they have to win and go top for at least 48 hours.
Southampton will have the chance to add more misery to Spurs. They are home at 2.4. Looks like a good bet.
Yes, it does. Southampton have slowly but surely started picking up, after a horrendous run of results, because we were really, really tough fixtures, away to United, away to Chelsea, away to Arsenal, home to Man City, which they did very, very well to get a draw out of that game. Southampton are looking good, and away to Newcastle as well, where they got a very decent draw against an informed Newcastle. That's going to be a very stern test for Spurs. Now, a lot of people are saying, I was Monday Night Football yesterday, and Victor Pepper was saying, why he was harsh for AVB. I disagreed with him. I said, AVB had it coming. Why? Spurs built that tradition on, on fine, fluent passing football, attacking football. Even if they don't really end up winning, but they play the game the way it should be played. And AVB brought a sterile, turgid, stolid kind of football to, to White Hart Lane. And at the end of the day, Luis Suarez with 15 goals has scored as many goals as the whole of Spurs has scored. Ironically, Spurs have a good record away from home, though. They've won 5, lost 1, won 5, drawn 1, and lost 2, which is as good. In fact, it's the best away record in the league with Arsenal. So maybe they're a different proposition on the world, because AVB's tactics worked well on the world. That's going 4-5-1 with Soldado as the point man. But right now, maybe Tim Sherwood as the acting, head coach, maybe he's going to change things. Maybe he's going to go 4-4-2, because they do need these points if they want to have any potential to get to top for themselves. So it's going to be an enthralling encounter. But I think I feel that Southampton could just nick it. They're really, really solid at.
It's more misery for Spurs. Fulham against Man City. Man City just hammered Arsenal last week. Can they carry on that run?
If Man City, for me, Man City are the favourites for the title now, based on their strength of squad. You know, it's one thing to have a big squad like Chelsea where Mourinho doesn't seem to know what he's doing. But with Manchester City, they went to Bayern Munich without 7 first-team regulars, which was a deliberate thing. They were resting them for the Arsenal game. And yes, it's easy. You can easily say that Bayern Munich dropped their guard. They weren't playing because they had already qualified and everything. But remember, City were 2 goals down, and they fought back to win 3-2. That victory, for me, is the turnaround point of City. I think they might have cured their away day blues. Yes, they drew at Southampton, which is a decent point. But going to Bayern Munich, I think that's going to give them the requisite confidence based on the fact that we dismantled Arsenal as well. I think Manchester City must be able to go to Craven Cottage and take all 3 points. Anything short of that would mean that Pellegrini doesn't have serious title aspirations.
The biggest game, no doubt, Monday Night Football. Arsenal at home to Chelsea.
This is a must-not-lose game for Arsenal. I say must-not-lose in the sense that they can afford to draw the game. That will keep Chelsea 2 points back. They might not be able to catch up with Liverpool. But I tell you what, they probably go top if they draw. But I tell you, if they lose that game, Arsenal's fragile self-confidence will start to crumple. Arsenal's been good. As I said, anybody could go to City and get hammered. United went there, they got hammered 4-1. Spurs went there and got hammered 6-0. You know, City beats teams regularly, you know. So they could afford, that's why they had a 5-point buffer, which has now reduced to 2, but they cannot afford to lose to Chelsea. They can afford a draw. I still feel that, okay, because Chelsea is a solid title, but if Chelsea go to the Emirates and beat Arsenal, not only will it allow Chelsea to leapfrog Arsenal, but I think it will really damage Arsenal's self-esteem.
Chelsea and Arsenal, both teams, the last 4 games, they've had both teams to score against top systems. They seem to score and they seem to concede. Do you see goals flying in this game?
The one thing I don't see in this game is a goalless draw, because Mourinho knows that this is a golden opportunity to drag himself back into the frame. He knows that, especially if Liverpool, as we expect, beat Cardiff on Saturday. You know, he doesn't want, but if he loses 2, then there's light. You know, if he loses, Arsenal go clear at the top, 2 points clear of Liverpool, and then Chelsea start to be drawn back. So really, it's a must-win game for both sides, and it's going to be hugely. It's a Monday I'm really looking forward to.
Good one. Thank you.